to please stand and we will say our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now be doing our Employee Service Awards. So, Ryan, I'd like you to come down with me and we will have the Service Awards. Thank you for all for being here. You're such an important part of the city of Springfield. We love each and every one of you for what you do. And to all of our department heads, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and thank you for what you do. We don't get to see all the employees sitting out here in the audience on a regular basis, so thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for making this a better place to live, and we appreciate each and every one of you. We will do our 5-year service awards. Patrick Osborne. Thank you. Come right between us. You're the first. Let's give you. Thank you for what you do. Jason Graves, 5 years. Thank you. 5 years, Amanda Putman. You know it won't be long before we're back up here and do the tenure for all of you. We'll let you have the awards. Kevin Dearborn. Joshua Lakey. Congratulations. Appreciate what you do. Kevin Dickerson. Congratulations. Come right in here. See, he asked his chief what he was supposed to be doing while he was still standing up here. We're now moving on to the Tenure Awards. Charles Benham, better known as David Benham. Matthew Vogel, 10 years. Thank you. I wish we had time for you to tell your best City of Springfield story, but since we have a long meeting tonight,
some of those might not be able to be told.
I bet there's some good ones in the audience. 15 years, Jason Hayat. Congratulations, my friend. Jason just received accreditation for a leadership program. He received the highest honor that you can get in this class. It's a class, correct? I have notes up here, but, you know, I left them. And so we are so proud of what Jason is doing for the city of Springfield, and congratulations. Miguel. 20 years, Miguel Harrison. 20 years. Congratulations. Oh. 20 years, Miss Sherry Bryant. Congratulations. Thank you for always being at the center, and everyone talks about how kind you are to everyone.
She's mean.
Only to you.
No,
I know you love her.
she's a sweetheart. She knows that.
20 years, Jeff Gladowski. Congratulations. 25 years, Mr. Don Osborne. Come right on up here. Thank you for everything. There's a little token of something in here. They don't tell me what it is.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. 30 years. Mr. Greg Riddle. Got all the department heads tonight coming up to the podium. Thank you. Is he 30 years too? Mm-hmm. Robert Drake, 30 years. You really been here 30 years?
Got married in 91 and started the city in 91.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for sending us all that stuff now digital that you send us, and all the expenses, and that we get that digital and we're not killing trees. What? Oh, 30 years, Joseph McLeod. Better known as Joe. I didn't know it was Joseph. Thank you for what you do. Y'all are all so important to the city. Oh, don't lose that. Might be something valuable in there. 35 years, Mr. Brian Morrison. Congratulations. Thank you. That's it. Thank y'all. Oh, okay. 1.3, approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen and the appeal hearing held on November 16th, 2021. We have a motion by Alderman Green and a second by Vice Mayor Harris. Any discussion? Any corrections? We're ready for a vote? Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 1.4, our public hearings. Our first public hearing tonight is ordinance 21-31, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2022 annual budget by amending certain general funds and utility fund operating budget. If there's anyone that would like to speak for this public hearing, please come to the mic. You have 2 minutes to speak. Please state your name. Thank you for closing the door. Anyone like to speak to the public hearing? No one would like to speak. The public hearing is closed. Our second public hearing, ordinance 21-32, an ordinance reappropriating the aldermen's wards of the city of Springfield, reapportioning the aldermanic wards of the city of Springfield, Tennessee, using the 2020 census block public population data. Would anyone like to speak? Please come to the mic. This is required by law to do every 10 years. We have to change our wards. No one would like to speak. The public hearing is officially closed. Public hearing number 3. Resolution 21-35, a resolution annexing property owned by C. Roger Blackwood, located on Blackwood Road, including a portion of the right-of-way on Blackwood Road. If you would like to speak, please come to the mic and state your name. And you have 2 minutes to speak. Anyone like to speak? Please come to the mic. Anyone like to speak? Roger, would you like to speak? I hear whispering. I'm fixing to call you out.
I was debating whether to be told by you or told by them. Appreciate you calling me out. No, number one, I would like for y'all to remember how many tax dollars are gonna be created by the houses that'll be in that field. And it's, I think, in excess of $120, $130 million a year, which is certainly adequate. But I'd also like to explain to you that my wife and I, when we gave that road and that park, we gave the equivalent in today's dollars of $4.5 million to the city of Springfield. It is built so well, city of Springfield has never spent one penny on repairs. The only thing they've done is make the stripes on the road. We have kept up the mowing, we have kept up the trash pickup, and nobody's had anything to do with it. And I think this is a very good project, and one way or another, I think we'll ultimately see these things come to pass. And I've owned it for 60 years, and it's time to pass it on. If anybody's got any questions, I'll be glad to ask.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this public hearing number 3? No one else would like to speak? Public hearing is closed. Now, since Mr. Jason Head is back in the room, I want to congratulate him properly so I can read from my notes. The Tennessee Association's Chief of Police Level 4 Leadership Certification. This is the highest certification you can have. Jason, we are so proud of you. I want to make sure that everyone that's watching tonight knows the exact certification that you got, and we are so proud of you and what you do for our police department. 2.1, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 21-28 on a third and final reading. Ordinance rescinding ordinance 01-10 in its entirety and establishing a new schedule of rates and charges for the Springfield gas system. Motion made by Alderman Green to discuss and a second by Alderman Gregg. Questions on this third and final reading? No discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the vote.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 2.2, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 21-29 on a third and final reading, or ordinance amending Chapter 5 of the City of Springfield zoning ordinances pertaining to event houses. Do we have a motion to discuss? Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Vice Mayor Harris. Questions on this third and final reading? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 2.3, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 21-30 on a third and final reading, or ordinance amending Title 18, Chapter 3 of the Springfield Municipal Code pertaining to the NPDES permit limits at the wastewater treatment plant. We have a motion to discuss by Alderman Hubbard and a second by Alderman Green. Questions on this third and final reading? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 2.4, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 21-31 on a second reading, or ordinance amending the fiscal year 2022 annual budget by amending certain general funds and utility fund operating budget. Do we have a motion? Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Alderman Green. Any questions on this second reading? Just one of these housekeepings. No questions, we're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 2.5, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 21-32 on a second reading, or ordinance reapportioning the automatic wards of the City of Springfield, Tennessee using the 2020 census block population data. Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss. Any questions on this discussion? Yes, sir.
I must say, I'm not totally pleased because I lost some good supporters that been with me over the past 20-odd years. But I'll go along with that 10-year mandate.
Yes, sir. Any other? This is something we're required by law to do every 10 years. And it's not an easy job. I didn't understand it the first time until I came to City Hall and we just have to start counting and you lose part of a street that you drive by every day and it's hard. Any discussion?
Well, you know my argument. You almost zoned the alderman out of his ward. So.
You came close to me that one.
I'm a little bitter, but I'll forgive it, okay?
Mr. Hubbard, how many years have you been here?
Well, this never happened, never went that close.
Oh, you took some of my ward one time 10 years ago. Yes, you did. I remember. Any questions?
That's some of your ward, but not
I just like
zoning you out.
I just like to give you a hard time, but that is a true story. Any discussion? We're ready for a vote. I like to pick on you, Mr. Hubbard.
You know I know. I'm a good guy.
Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 2.6, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 21-33 on a first reading. The ordinance rezoning 1117 Batts Boulevard from Commercial Service District to Core Commercial District. Motion made by Vice Mayor Harris and a second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss this. Yes, ma'am, will you please read this? You
Ordinance,
keep me good.
in line. Thank you for reminding me.
Ordinance 21-33, an ordinance rezoning one parcel located at 1117 Batts Boulevard from Commercial Services District to Core Commercial District. Whereas an application for rezoning was presented to the Springfield Planning Commission by Jim Moore, owner's authorized agent, and Norman Sloan Properties owner, requesting one parcel, tax map 80O, Group C, parcel 11 of the tax maps of Robertson County, Tennessee, approximately .31 acres located at 1117 Batts Boulevard, be rezoned from Commercial Services District, CS, to Core Commercial District, CC. Whereas the Springfield Planning Commission has reviewed the application and voted with a favorable recommendation for this parcel to be rezoned. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. One parcel, .31 acres, owned by Norman Sloan Properties, located on Batts Boulevard, tax map 80O, Group C, parcel 11 of the tax maps of Robertson County, Tennessee, and being more fully described by Exhibit A attached, is hereby rezoned from Commercial Services District, CS, to Core Commercial District, CC. This rezoning shall become effective following its third and final passage as required by law.
Thank you for reading that. Questions on this first reading?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brewer.
Mr. Brewer, will you come to the mic, please?
What does this rezoning allow or not allow? What they're wanting to do?
CC is doesn't have a on-site parking requirement. You can have on-street parking or public parking. It allows the businesses that we have in the downtown area, right off the top of my head, you know, apparel stores, restaurants, coffee shops, that kind of thing. I do not know what Mr. Sloan has in mind for this parcel. I don't know anything at the present time. I know that he owns the building that Born and Raised Market is in at the top of the teardrop. We've been calling that shape there at Batts in Maine.
Okay. Other questions while he's at the mic? Yes, sir.
I'm gonna comment since I'm still the alderman for that portion, I'll lose it. I support it 110%. That's gonna be some improvement, and we need to move to improve.
Yes, sir. Other questions for Mr. Brewer? Any other discussion? Thank you, Mr. Brewer.
Thank you, Mayor.
Ready for a vote? Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 2.7, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 21-35 on a second reading. A resolution annexing property owned by C. Roger Blackwood located on Blackwood Road, including a portion of the right-of-way on Blackwood Road. Motion to discuss by Alderman Trotter, a second by Alderman Gregg. Questions?
Comment?
Sir?
I have been well pleased, and I do concur with you about keeping that mold and the property very tidy. This will definitely be an improvement to the city, so I support it 100%.
Okay.
I would also just say thank you for providing the traffic study that addressed some of the concerns that were raised by individuals, so thank you.
Any other comments? The traffic study was added to the question we had last month, so that was a good. Any other discussion? No other discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 2.8, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 21-37, a resolution establishing internal service funds for the self-funded health benefits plan for the city of Springfield. Do we have a motion to discuss? Motion by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Vice Mayor Harris. Our city manager, Mr. Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. This resolution is, the only thing it changes is what we do in-house and how we account for our health insurance expenses. Currently, the way we account for our health insurance expenses, you see in the budget that we present to you every year that you approve a health insurance line item in each department. And that our auditors have, since the city's been self-funded, have required us to cost those expenses out to the individual departments. This moves away from that method of accounting for that and moves it to one service fund. It really gets back to the core meaning of a health pool, which is what we have, an employee pool. And so what also that requires, the way we do it now, is a lot of cleanup at the end of the year, especially with the small departments, with some health insurance expenses in those departments. We end up having to move money from police over to cemeteries or something like that. So there's a lot on the budget amendment end of it that you all see and have to do. This will eliminate all of that. And so just to set up an internal service fund just for health, for the employee health benefit plan, allow us to, it'll be more efficient and it'll be less cleanup at the end of the year.
Questions,
Comment?
sir?
I'm glad to see this move. Efficiency, you do a pretty good job at that, city manager.
This was Ms.
Make it-
Crockett.
Oh, Ms. Crockett?
Ms. Crockett did
Good
this.
job.
Yeah. We've been after our auditors to let us do this for a while. This is a conversation that Lisa and I have had for the last couple of years, and our auditors were against this. Other agencies do it this way. A lot of places do it this way, and it's a much more efficient way of doing that. So thank you we're looking for ways to be more efficient.
Well, and I know y'all have all been working on the health insurance, so thank you for that. I know you've had a lot of meetings and spent a lot of hours on our health insurance. Any other questions?
Are the auditors still against it, or?
No, we were finally able, I think, I don't know what Ms. Crockett did, but she was finally able to prove to them, I guess, that this is an acceptable way and kind of got their blessing to do this, to account for the health insurance this way.
Other questions?
Since she's got some Texas connection like me, you know, I have
Yeah.
back.
I didn't ask any questions. I just said okay when she told me.
It is a lot more efficient way of doing business. Good. It'll make your life easier. Okay, other questions? No other questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 3.1, discuss and possible take action on the adjustment of the retail electric rates of the Springfield Electric Department due to the wholesale cost adjustments by the Tennessee Valley Authority. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, second by Alderman Green to discuss. Mr. Sachs.
So thank you for doing this one more time this year. Our adjustment for the month is 1.3% higher than it was last month, amounting to $1 to $1.50 per.
Thank you. This is a pass-through that TBA, we don't have a choice on what that rate's going to be. Mr. Sachs doesn't have a choice on what that rate's going to be, but we have to vote on it each month. We do like our electricity. Any questions? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 3.2, discuss and possible take action on the adjustments of the monthly gas rates of the Springfield Gas Department. Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss. Mr. Riddle, I hope you're not following your friend. I can see your face.
Actually, the purchase gas adjustment's down 12.2% this month.
Oh, good news. Can you do that next month in a row?
We're hoping, I checked gas prices, about 3:30 this afternoon, and it's kind of in line with what it was, so we're hoping it's gonna trend down.
Good. No arguments with us. Any questions for him? No questions or discussion? We're ready for a vote. Please record the votes. Oh, did anyone want to change their vote? Sorry. I'm just moving right along. I'm ready for Christmas. Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
I gotta provide you with a little humor tonight. 3.3, discuss and possible take action to approve the offers on the surplus properties acquired via the delinquent tax sale. We need a motion to discuss. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Alderman Green. Any questions on this? Pretty routine, we do every month. No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 3.4, discuss and possible take action to issue the certificate of compliance for Prince Inc. doing business as Discount Top Shelf Liquor. Motion made by Vice Mayor Harris and a second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss. Do we have questions on this? No questions? Our city staff has provided us with good information in this, I'll go back many years and say packet in our computer.
We still call it that too, a packet.
The packet, every time I pick it up and bring the computer, I say, I'm taking my packet. It is an iPad. No questions on this business? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 3.5, discuss and possible take action to approve a donation of 15 round top picnic tables from S3 Recycling Solutions of Springfield, Tennessee. The donation dollar amount is $13,920. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Vice Mayor Harris to discuss. Any questions on approving this donation? It's a very nice donation, and I would like to thank them for it.
Do we know where they're going?
What part?
Martin Luther King Jr. Park around the splash pad in between the two soccer fields.
Okay,
That's awesome.
that's great.
Doing some great work out there. Not trying to get a brownie point in, but doing some great work.
Okay, any questions on approving this donation? We're ready for a vote? Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 3.6, discuss and possible take action on the appointments of various boards and commissions. Motion made by Vice Mayor Harris, a second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss. Any questions on these appointments?
Say, Mayor, that it looks like we've got several reappointments to this board from people that are currently serving, and
Yes, sir.
we do appreciate those that are willing to serve on these boards.
Yes, sir, you are correct. It takes all of us to make the city of Springfield better, and these board members and commissions, they're valuable to the city of Springfield, and we appreciate what they've done in the past and what they're going to do in the future for us. Any questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 3.7, discuss and possible take action to approve task order number 3 with Jacobs Engineering Group, Inc. in the amount of $400,000 for engineering services on Highway 257 water line replacement. We have a motion to discuss by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Alderman Green. Questions on task order number 3? No questions or discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to,
Mr. Harris.
Mr. Harris? Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 3.8, discuss and possible take action to approve a change order for a reduction of $78,020 to the contract from Scott Ritter, Inc., the Phase 2C Constructive Overflow Basin Project. The revised contract amount will be $3,857,261.25. Did you hear that? Reduction.
That's right.
I'm gonna point that out again. Motion made by Alderman Green, a second by Alderman Hubbard.
Mr. Beers must be in the Christmas spirit. He doesn't ever give anything back.
We like this. It's, very rare I can say reduction. We're always over on projects. Thank you. We better vote fast, I guess, if there's no discussion. Sir?
I just want to say some great work was done out
Yeah.
there.
Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
I think I just want to go back and read it again. 3.9, discuss and possible take action to approve task order number 21, the Gresham Smith, in the amount of $54,065 for the Springfield Water Department, administrative order on consent, the final Environmental Protection Agency report. Do we have a motion? Motion made by Alderman Green, a second by Alderman Hubbard. Any questions to approve this task order number 21? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 3.10, discuss and possible take action on a presentation from the Springfield-Robertson County Joint Airport Board regarding a potential public-private partnership opportunity. We don't need to vote on this because it's,
That's correct.
okay, and I'm gonna turn it over to our city manager, Mr. Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. So first, before I ask you to recognize Mr. Jamie Jones, the airport manager, he's gonna give a very, very short presentation, the purpose of which is to inform you, they last visited this body when there was a request for funding for the hangar project, okay? As you know, we've put the terminal out there, and they've gotten creative with the way that other airports have used to fund a hangar project and get that done, because we do have a waiting list that Mr. Jones will talk about here shortly. What the airport board is looking for from you all tonight is the openness to this idea, because what comes next, if this body is open to it, I believe they're going to the county next month and asking them kind of the same question. If the openness is there, then they will go on and issue an RFP and solicit proposals, vet those proposals, and then bring a one and a proposed lease that will be drafted presumably by the airport board's attorney, Clyde Richard, to bring back to the city and the county for approval. If this is something that you all are not willing to consider, then I think they would appreciate kind of knowing that tonight, so they don't expend any more effort and they can move on. So I think that's the only thing. There's no vote that's necessary. Before we get into the presentation, I want to recognize Mr. Jones. Jamie Jones is actually, I think already, he's no longer technically the airport manager, or through the end of the year, right? Through the end of the year. He's leaving us. He's put in a lot of effort over the last couple of years in turning the airport around. So I want to thank you, Jamie, for everything that you've done for the airport. Invite you all to his going away farewell reception, which will be on January the 7th at 3 o'clock at the airport. There'll be light refreshments served, so come on out. Jamie, and if you haven't seen, for anybody, the public is invited. For anyone that hasn't seen what has happened at the airport since the new terminal was built, I know Mr. Blackwood was heavily involved in that, Mr. Brewer, a lot of folks. That airport has made tremendous strides, and so thank you, Jamie, for what you've done. Also, for this board to have an update on what's going on with the airport board. At the December meeting, there were new officers elected. Mr. Paul Nutting was elected chairman of that body. So congratulations to Paul. Also, a new vice chair was elected, and that's Mr. Jerry Converse. Edison Guthrie will remain the secretary treasurer. He was reappointed to that, but two new people in the chair and vice chair roles. So looking forward to working with them as well in those roles. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Took a little bit
Call
longer than I
Jamie.
thought.
Oh, no. I also want to tell you that the air show, if you were not at the air show, that was a tremendous showing of people coming out to see the airplanes and what's going on at our airport. So Jamie, I just congratulate you for what you've done, and you're welcome to come on to the mic. And Mr. Nutting, thank you for serving as the chair. And thank you for continuing to serve the city of Springfield. We appreciate that. Jamie?
First, I'd like to thank you all for having me out, Alderman, Mayor, City Manager. The airport's pretty near and dear to my heart. There has been a lot of work out there, but it's not just been mine. My staff, various folks of the community. It's taken an effort, all of us, to grow. But as we've been told many a time when people fly in, we're a little big airport. That's the way we're viewed. We have big ideas, we operate at a big level, but we're still small. So the idea behind this is obviously just to increase our capabilities out there with providing more air traffic, obviously more aircraft out there, the more money we make. How do we do that? There's a couple ways we did that. The last time I was here, we were looking at possible funding from you all, and it was too much. So we needed to work ourselves in another direction and look into the private sector to come in and do what we refer to in my world as a land lease, to be able to build hangars for us, right, or a commercial building, whatever you want. I suppose we have a picture, or can someone go to
In the podium right under you.
We hid it from you.
Okay. Did a survey trying to get a hold of all the airports, minus the big 6 that we have, and to find out if any other airports in the state have done or are doing the same thing that we're wanting to do, which is a land lease to build a private building to serve as hangars to the public. As you see there, 41 out of the 76 responded, and these leases are good between anywhere from 10 years to 30 years, and the FAA doesn't like to go any further than 30 years, and this is all based on the return on investment to whoever the investor is that decides to build. Any questions in regards to this first screen here? A lot of data went into this to be able to come up with those 4 little bullet points in there. Primarily is have they done leases in the past, or are they in the middle? And we're finding out that that is the way we do business in this industry, because we can't afford to do this ourselves all the time. It's too expensive. Right now, this is our real property assets. This is what we currently have as today. And we've had to invent a lot of things out there, creating more space. More and more people are wanting to come in here. I get calls every day, all different times of the day. People want to come to this airport. They want to be a part of this experiment that we have going on out here, and we've made drastic changes. The reason why people come in here a lot is not only to buy our fuel, which is considerably cheaper than everybody else, but is also the comments that we have in the pilot community. We have basically a form of a software that we use to navigate with. In the 2.5 years that I've spent out there, we have not one negative comment on this airport as we've moved forward. That is a great testament of how well we manage that airport on a day-to-day basis. Any questions in regards to the screen here? We're full. We are at max capacity. I've got a couple more ideas to get airplanes, but right now I am paying musical chairs right now to hold even transient people that come in that want to visit Robertson County or even Nashville for that matter. I am down to 2, sometimes 3 transient parking spots. So imagine your parking spots out here when you guys come out here, and there's only 2 or 3 that you can use for everybody to come to do business. I actually have to watch tie-down areas where people actually pay rent for, and if they go on a long trip, I'll ask them, hey, there's a possibility I may need to use that for the weekend. Are you going to be gone long enough? Yes, not a problem. We've doubled people up on hangars where we can and serve those leases as well. I don't give any breaks on that, but that's what if people want to put their airplanes in. The big question has come up on a lot of times about people are just putting aircraft in their hangars, and it's kind of like a rich man's paradise or whatever you might say. A lot of the people that are out here use their aircraft for business because it is a quicker way to be able to get from here to Knoxville or what have you. It's very important that aircraft are actually in a building because the weather serves such wear and tear on aircraft. I know, I have one. It sat outside for 5 years while we were deployed. And it's quite an investment to be able to get it back to where it's flyable again. So building hangars is a very, very big need. These are very expensive pieces of equipment. Hangar waiting list. This has been the most creative part of trying to drive where we need to go and why we need to go. I have no more room on my ramp. I have no more tie downs. Like I said, I have 2 or 3 depending on the day. And so in order to be able to drive why the need, we needed to create that need. How many people want to come in and buy into this project? And to be on the hangar waiting list is a new system that I created. Basically, I'll just call it a zip code system. If you are a Category 1, you are Robertson County. That means you own an airplane and you live in Robertson County. If you're a Category 2, if you are a non-resident, but you're based at our airport, you get priority. These priorities are built so that you can go into the hangar. That's the priority. So if we build these 30 hangars, these folks are gonna be the first ones to go into these hangars. Then of course, people who own an airplane, but they reside outside of our county, non-residents, then you're a Category 3. You can get bumped on this thing at any time if somebody comes in, and I'm sorry, that's just, I take care of Robertson County and based aircraft people first. That is our airport. And then of course, if you're wishing to own a hangar, and you don't have an airplane, well, you're last on the list. That's just the way it is. So I really wanted to design a system so that I take care of Robertson County first. Any questions in regards to that? And by the way, everybody buys in. There's no freebies. So you pay $225 up front and a $25 admin fee that goes to my folks to be able to handle the books on this and put it on the website, etc. And it's posted pretty much every month. And, if I have significant changes, then everybody who is on that list gets to go and look at their position to see if anything's changed. Benefits, I'm going to let you guys read through that. If you could take a moment. Did you guys go get a pre-brief? Okay. Any questions? Because this is probably where we're going to drive most of our questions from. And feel free, there's no bad questions. So at the, if you guys don't have any questions, I'll move through. We're looking for a private investment to, in the city and the county to collectively give us the approval to work through a land lease. And of course, this is the first of the roadmap. There might be, a couple more, somebody coming forward, maybe even myself, to help facilitate this drive. The land lease is just the approval to do a land lease is just the first part of this. The next thing is going to be if you guys have questions as to liabilities or how it's going to pay it or insurance or is it going to have too many aircraft out here. Those are the things we're going to address, which I'm prepared to do. And with that, how does it help our community from an aviation aspect? So those are the things will come next so that I can put everybody at ease with the information that this is a positive thing, not a negative thing. On the good side is that private investment, I actually have an investor who is ready, and we're looking for a couple more. So if you guys were wondering if there's an investor out there, I currently have one. But it's nice because we're doing an RFP bid process that we have a couple more to choose from. The idea is that we went seeking as a board and the management for this type of venture, which requires us to go through the RFP bid process. But if somebody was to come to us, that kind of changes the tables a little bit because that means that that's what they're wanting to do as a single proprietor. The other thing that we do is our aircraft utilization. We're mismanaged on that. Nothing we can do about it, but we need to make money, so I stick people in these hangars until we get some new ones built and I can reallocate these for bigger aircraft. But right now I sit with 2 people in 2 aircraft in these hangars. Because I look at things from a static and a dynamic standpoint out there as far as revenue is concerned. Having more hangars out there, obviously we're not going to get the hangar revenue on that because somebody else owns it and they got to pay the bill. But we will get a management fee out of it if we draft the contract correctly, which means that that will help us pay for an additional employee out there, because we're probably gonna end up collecting the rent for them, and we're not gonna do the maintenance. They'll do the maintenance, it'll be part of the lease, but we'll schedule maintenance, and we'll make sure that the hangars are inspected, and so forth and so on. So it's very important when we craft this lease, that we actually have things in there that benefit the airport. One of those is being able to afford another full-time employee at that, and so that's not at our expense. Second, 30 more airplanes is gonna increase my revenue from $20,000 to $25,000 a year, and that's kind of what I base on what I call a COVID year, which is a lack of flying, so there's potential of that being even greater. The TDOT Aeronautics is already, this is already in our master plan, which will get evaluated again here in the next year and a half. But we're already approved, we just have to inform them of what we're gonna do, of where these hangars are gonna get built. You'll see the bottom, or the arrow that hits the blue down here. We can't build there anymore because that's where our when we built the terminal building, that's where the drainage system is for the septic system. So they're all giving us the ability to be able to put a parallel up here right next to the other one, and we have the room to do that. This is just a topical image of where both of those hangars will sit. And by the way, we don't have a lot more room out here. Because of the way that the laws are read for TDOT Aeronautics and the FAA as far as where our build lines are, we can build those hangars, maybe one more, plus we have a fuel system that has to get relocated. And that is an engineering feat that we're gonna have to do. But you can see up in that upper, this over here, we actually have another 7.5 acres over there that is our potential build out for commercial stuff later. But right now, this is where we need to start.
Okay.
And that's what it looks like from an engineering design perspective. We already have a company, we're gonna use the same company more than likely that we used before, because they're just a better quality and a better price. So they've already been, that's what our other hangars are already built by, and they just last a long time. Any questions?
Okay. I will say that when this was first brought to my attention, I had to go research it. And this is being done over Middle Tennessee, and this is not a new concept at all. That's how they're building their hangars. So if you have questions, please ask while Jamie's at the mic. And, we just kind of need to know where everyone kind of stands on this, because I think this is a project we should move forward on, but we need everybody to be comfortable with that, or at least a majority. Yes, sir.
My comments would be, this is something like a 20 or 25-year discussion that over years that I had since I've been on this board, okay? We wanted to see this, especially, with that appropriate larger aircraft. Because when we think about the corporate, and now we got these corporate headquarters like Electric Lux and Marriott and Outfitters, so not so much for the private recreational people, but,
Can I address that, please? In terms of airports around Middle Tennessee, our counterparts, we're more suited because of our ramp space that we have out here. We are really the propeller-driven marketplace. John Toon, even Clarksville, Gallatin, they are really catering to that jet market. And it's driving out the propeller guys. And there's a lot of propeller-driven aircraft out there that service businessmen alike every single day. It's a big business. I mean, these are, $500,000, $1 million airplanes with single and twin engine, not jets. Our ramp is only designed to be able to hold, during an operational moment, 1 to 2 jets And that's one large one and two small ones at any given moment, because we just don't have the capability. Not saying that we can't get there at some point, but our biggest bet right now is to become the airport that specializes in the propeller-driven marketplace in here. And we have a big push for that right now, especially with the storms and stuff that have hit in John Tune. The jet market, although, you know, my revenue does increase on that, but it also is it's operational heavier as well. And we're just not quite suited to do that for multiple reasons. Right now, we are what we consider a C1 category as far as aircraft development and our runway capabilities, which means we just don't get a lot of jet. But jets also bring in a heavier maintenance on our runways and taxiways. And that's a big deal, because that's money we don't have, that if we move to a C2 where we're taking more jet aircraft in, then we may be responsible for paying that, and we don't want to go there. I've already seen airports where the TDOT has come in and said, well, I'm sorry, we're only going to pay for half of that runway. And we just don't want to get there. Now, can we build a couple free commercial hangars that can hold some medium-sized to small jets? Yes, and we can do that without moving it into a higher category, and we can develop some revenue on that, but that can only be done on the northwest end. So if you're asking me from this is what I do. I like building airports. I am particularly fond of the propeller-driven marketplace. They need a home. They are choosing us. So I think it is in our best interest that we actually take care of them, and I think you'd be greatly surprised on how well that would be received in our marketplace.
It was funny, I was sitting in a doctor's office in Nashville, and when the doctor found out I was from Springfield, he said, I have an airplane, I want to move it to Springfield, because I've come to Springfield to have my airplane worked on, and it's the best service.
That's great.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And, you know, he just found out I was from Springfield.
I'm surprised you didn't tell him to call me to get on my hangar waiting list. But we do try to make as much money as we can out there. There's not a square inch of space that I don't try to develop some kind of revenue some way, somehow. And that's why the board has entrusted me to do that. I'm out of options. I'm at the top of my threshold as how much money we can make. And I wish I could stay on board to carry the airport a little bit further, but I have some underlying health concerns that just won't allow.
Well, this is a good growth problem. Ms. Green?
I would just like to say first, thank you for your presentation. I remember when you were here before with your other presentation, and I think that this is a great project, and it was not, unfortunately, in our budget to be able to carry it through, but I think this is a really creative and smart way to see growth, but have someone else pay for it. I like it. So I just wanted to express my, I know we're not voting, but like my vote of confidence in the idea, and I would love to see more.
The goal here would be, this was the first of the roadmap to provide you all. Hopefully, maybe not the next meeting, but the following meeting, that we can get a vote from you all to go ahead and pursue a land lease. I think it's kind of a cart before the horse before we get to that point. But, you know, first we need the permissions, and then, you know, we need to see if there's any RFP bids that would be willing to take place, and then we can work towards the lease on it.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you so much for your time, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work.
Any other questions before he leaves the mic? No other questions? Thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for the airport.
Absolutely.
You've done a
Have
great
good night.
job. We probably should go around and make sure I know Ms. Green is good with it. Mr. Gregg?
We've got a great airport out there. I like it.
Tremendous things going on. Mr. Harris?
Fully support it.
Mr. Trotter?
I'd vote to support it tonight.
Okay. Mr. Hubbard?
You know,
Yes, sir.
I'm been with her.
Okay. I think it's a great project, and you know, in the beginning, like I said earlier, I kind of hesitated, and after doing a lot of research on it, it's a great way, as Ms. Green says, to do business. We're ready for our consent doc,
Move to take it as one without objection.
okay? We have a motion on the floor. Take it as one. Do we have a second? Second by Alderman Hubbard. Any questions on the consent doc? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Travis Price Park, the Christmas lights are still on. Mr. Martin, I can't tell you how many people have walked up to me and thanked me for the Christmas lights, which I had nothing to do with, but your department and all the other departments have participated, and it's a tremendous year for the park and the Christmas lights. It's amazing. So if you haven't been out, please go out.
Great.
Our city manager report, Mr. Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, on a somber note, most of you know Mr. Billy Williams passed away in storms this past weekend, I guess. He was a longtime servant of the city of Springfield, served on our Industrial Development Board, our Health and Education Facilities Board, and previously served the Springfield Housing Authority before that. So keep his family in your prayers during this time, and we will have a resolution for you all prepared next month to be able to honor his memory and his service to Springfield. So that'll be coming. Mayor's already covered it, so I hesitate to cover it again, but I guess I have to. Thank you, Mr. Martin, for Winter Wonderland. We have y'all check this out. We finally, this year, got a traffic counter out there, and since Winter Wonderland started, over 5,000 vehicles have come through the park. Absolutely incredible. It shows not only what a service this is to our citizens and our community surrounding Springfield, but when I'm out there, we were out there this past Friday night, and there were people from all over, license plates that I was seeing, because I like to look at the license plates when we go. Also, Mr. Martin had the idea and decided to, he really did, he's got a heart for people, and he decided, he called me and he said, hey, we need to contribute to the tornado relief, okay? And now let's keep in mind that Mr. Sachs had already sent 2 electric crews to Bowling Green, Kentucky, and they've been working nonstop in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So Terry, we get to give him some of the credit too. So we've had a lot of guys working in dangerous conditions in Bowling Green with our electric department, and so we don't want to leave them out. We appreciate that, and Bowling Green and the citizens of Bowling Green really appreciate that. That's part of the FEMA mutual aid assistance agreement that we have in place when we help out with hurricanes. We would want that same help under that agreement if something happened here. But Mr. Martin, so far, since Mr. Sachs was helping out Bowling Green, Mr. Martin said, Dresden, Tennessee was heavily damaged, and linked up with the Dresden, Tennessee Rotary Club, who had started a tornado relief fund, and to date, holding that bucket with Rudolph or the Grinch or whoever was standing out there holding that bucket, just since this past weekend, they've already raised over $8,000.
Oh, wow. Great job.
So that money will go towards, he was in contact with the Dresden, Tennessee folks, and they are so excited and so appreciative that we would care enough about them to do that, and that our citizens, our community cares enough about them to do that. So thank you, and thank you to our community for responding to that effort. We need to discuss, surprisingly enough, we need to discuss a strategic planning date. We would like to do that in January.
We should.
Obviously before the, because our department heads don't want to hear this, but it's going to be time to start preparing budget in a couple of weeks.
Don't say those words. They don't want to hear that.
In about 10 days, it's going to be time to start thinking about the budget for next year. I know, that's why I haven't told them yet until tonight. I was hoping they weren't listening. So we need to look at a strategic planning date, and so I'm going to throw out a couple of dates that we could look at. The 20th of January, that's the same week as our meeting, that's a Thursday. We could look at that Thursday evening, or we could look at possibly the 25th or 27th of January, if either of those dates work.
The 25th or the what?
27th, Tuesday and Thursday. Trying to stick to a Tuesday and Thursday. That's generally what we do for all of our special meetings.
I personally prefer Thursday.
Thursday, okay.
I'd go with Thursday on 20th,
27th.
20th. Which
Yeah,
one?
20th would be better for me.
20th.
20th.
Okay.
Mayor's the 20th.
Works for me.
Okay. Then we'll go ahead and tentatively pencil that in. We'll nail down a location and get everything situated, and that way we can get back at that strategic planning meeting. Most of you know that we've had an offer from a gentleman to donate property for a new fire station. And so what we're doing internally is we're putting together a growth forecast, we're putting together sort of a 5-year capital improvement schedule, so we kind of know what the growth looks like versus what our needs look like, so we can come to you all in January and present you with the facts to say, this is kind of what we need to do, this is what we can currently afford, this is what might need more revenue, and start looking towards the future. We really want to start with the end in mind and work backwards with where we need to go, okay?
We're gonna
So,
go ahead and set a time for this meeting.
yeah,
5 o'clock?
5 o'clock. Is,
5
Mr.
o'clock
Trotter,
good?
can you?
That's good.
Okay,
You'll be in session.
With
yeah.
snacks provided by
Not Thursday.
I wasn't gonna mention it, but yes, we will have food.
Subway sandwich.
We will have food. We'll have food of some sort, and we'll
5 PM.
make it good. Okay, so 5 PM on January the 20th is what we'll plan on for that. Okay. Finishing up. You all had the Blackwood Road property annexation tonight. There is one coming right behind it. The Planning Commission, Mr. Gregg and the Planning Commission will see it first in January. That is the Johnston property. That is right behind Robertson County Animal Clinic on Fifth Avenue. That property, that application has been filed and will be coming this month. That's 177 homes. It keeps coming. And, you know, you got my email, developments like the Blackwood property, developments like the Johnston property, those are the type of developments that are right here in the city, not technically, but figuratively right here in the city that we can serve at virtually no cost and pick up extra customers. Those are the types. So we don't know what that development necessarily looks like yet, but that petition for annexation and rezoning is coming before you all next month. So I just wanted to give you a heads up so you can be on the lookout for that and if you hear anything. Sales tax receipts continue to be strong. We're still 12% ahead of budget. So we hope for a strong Christmas season and holiday season where people do their holiday shopping local and keep those sales tax receipts strong. And that's all I have. Merry Christmas.
Well, and for the people that haven't bought their Christmas presents yet, shop local. You can run in. You can, a lot of these local businesses will wrap your Christmas present. I did that on my lunchtime today when I got out of Kiwanis. And I'm sure some of you have not shopped yet. Yes, sir. Mr. Harris?
Just before we dismiss tonight, for us as a board to extend our condolences to Walter George and his family. Walter's wife died the last part of November. Her name was Sharon. Walter's been involved with the recording of our meetings for many, many years to supply to the cable company, but we do, as a board, offer our condolences to Walter and his family.
He's done a lot for the city of Springfield. Yes, sir, Mr.
I
Hubbard.
saw him this morning at breakfast, and he's doing quite well. Plus, I would like to say this, not politicizing this, is coming from a human standpoint. Stay COVID savvy.
Okay. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. This meeting is adjourned.